Justin Baldoni is finally speaking about how exhausted he is from the year of emotional stress dealing with It Ends With Us and Blake Lively. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signore. Now, it should be known this interview was taped before Blake Lively filed her lawsuits. This was taped in November, but still, it's the first time we've really heard Justin open up about this stressful year of his, how exhausted he is. And yes, he does get into details as to why he made this film. We get some sense as to texts and things he's sending to his friends about how rough it's been. So you can sort of connect the dots. But again, this was taped in November before the lawsuits dropped. Still, I wanted to share a few segments from it because it really does give you more insight into Justin. Look, Ryan Reynolds seemingly is out there making fun of him, calling him a fake feminist, parroting him in Nice Pool. But the more I do listen to him, I can see why some would be annoyed. There's definitely a lot of therapy speak, but it does feel genuine. Like, I do think he really believes in what he's saying and tries his best to be the better person, and also really trying to help men open up about their emotions. Let's hear from him. I want to start with this where he talks about sending a text to his best friends. Let's hear him.
This morning I sent a text message to my best friend Jamie and the president of my company, Tara. And I told them that I wasn't in the best place. I told them that I was exhausted, that I haven't given myself time to recover or time to heal. I had a intense year, a lot of material success, and a lot of emotional stress. It was very hard on me and my family.
Now, that's very telling because obviously now we know the amount of stress that he's had to go through. It was an immensely tough year, immensely difficult. I think he's being kind of generous in how difficult it's been. He continues to explain the text. I want to go here to this point.
I love you both. I just need you to know I'm not in the best place. I woke up at 4:30 this morning. My son's had the flu. I'm not feeling great. My heart was racing. I'm noticing that, I'm having some anxiety. And when I check in with myself, I've realized that I just haven't given myself the time to heal from this year that I needed.
Now, keep that in mind because fast forward a few more weeks, he's going to then be served over Christmas. His holidays ruined, and now his whole career is attempted to be ruined by Blake and the lawsuit. So I can only imagine if he was this tough before it all dropped, imagine how much tougher it was after.
So let's prioritize our time, and let's make sure that the things that we say yes to are things that we really feel will move the needle forward and can have impact.
And not hopefully have any succubuses involved.
And I shared that with them. And then I texted my assistant and I said, hey, in the spirit of vulnerability, I just need you to know, because you are my right hand, I need you to know where I'm at emotionally. And I then shared that text message with him. And then I sent a similar text message to my publicist, Jen, who's here, by the way. And I bring that up because she asked me, what do you need to know about who I am? And who I am is a work in progress. And who I am is somebody who is always trying to be radically sincere and authentic to myself so that I can be of service in the best way possible and have the most impact. And sometimes I can get lost in the same way that everybody gets lost. But healing isn't linear, and growth isn't linear. And if you don't have setbacks, if you don't have plateaus, then you don't have the opportunity to regroup and to push forward. So I share that with you because while I look like I am all of those things, and on paper I am also just like everybody else in the sense that I take on more than I can chew. I overcommit. I say yes to things out of fear. I people please.
Even now.
Even now. Absolutely.
I mean, that's just incredibly real, I think, because we see it happening in the text as the film was steamrolled by Blake, which just showed their inexperience as producers. And I say that with all respect. They got completely controlled and taken over by Blake. And in fact, we're going to talk about that today later in our live. Some new footage has come in, unearthed, and it's shocking. It's shocking the amount of control Blake had over this project and stole from Justin and knowingly did this and has done it on multiple projects. So stay tuned for that. But I want to continue this because he does delve in a little bit deeper as to the reasons of the film and everything else.
I think we have to dispel the myth that so many thought leaders or self-help gurus or podcast hosts, authors have the keys to the kingdom. Like, we have to dispel the myth that like they're.
Yeah, I don't know why anybody looks up to any celebrity. To be fair, he's totally right. People think we're better. No, nobody's perfect, myself included, Justin included. Here's where he goes into why he made the film.
I haven't talked about this a lot because I want to be very mindful in the conversation around this movie to not take the emphasis off of what is happening to women at alarming rates.
Absolutely.
And yet, I talk a lot about reframing the question from why did she stay to why did he hurt her?
Yep.
And that means that violence against women, as we know, is not a woman's issue, it's a man's issue. So the reason under the reason, the secret reason, which I would never lead with, because this is a movie at the end of the day for women to see themselves. And I prayed that they would see themselves and maybe not even realize that they were in the situation that they were in. And by watching the character in the movie's courage, find the courage themselves, or that would have a friend that would take them to the movie so that they could experience that. The real reason underneath it all was to affect change in men. And if you create a female event film, of course women are going to go with women, but there's going to be a lot of men that go with women. And that's the other reason why I wanted to direct it and why I wanted to play this character. Because I wanted men to see themselves in each of the men. I wanted men to see what happens when you do not resolve your trauma. I wanted men to see a guy like Ryle, who in his heart is a good man, be unable to control his insecurity, let his fears win and take over, and harm the person he loves the most, the one person who has helped him find himself, who has helped him believe in love again. He hurts her because he never took the time to heal. I wanted men to see that they could lose everything. And I wanted to do it in a way where, in some ways, men felt empathy for Ryle. And if they could feel empathy for Ryle, they could see themselves.
I gotta give him credit, man. That's really well said. I think he had that was always his intent for this film and what was happening. And it wasn't about grab your florals and let's make money. It was about really having that impact. The more and more I look into what Justin does and what he speaks for, it's clear. Now, is he perfect? No, Blake, neither are you. There was clearly misunderstandings on this set. Clearly, the fact that it's turned into this legal battle to save face and ego. I do have to give Justin way more credit because I don't understand what he did here to warrant all this. I don't understand it. I really think this is blown out to proportions. And the more we uncover these things, the more, in my opinion, it exposes Blake's insecurities. And that's where all this sort of stems from. Kudos to Justin. He has got hours of podcasts where he's been doing this forever. And I don't believe Blake or Ryan really watched any of it in full to really hear his kind of insight. Look, you don't have to agree with him. You may find it hippy dippy. At times I did too, but there were moments and nuggets here where I'm like, look, I hear this man. He's really trying. He's trying to be a better person, trying to help others. And I applaud him for it. And I just don't believe the whole thing's a sham or a fraud, as Blake Lively's brother-in-law was trying to put out there. Bart, coach the Wildcats. There's way more to it. And I think that's why everyone else has shut up. And interesting and smart of this podcast, which is pre-taped November, to sort of wait a little bit and now slowly drop out now to really get a sense of Justin without really getting into legal battle, et cetera, et cetera. It gives you a little bit more insight into where his mind was before all this. Now, was that thought of ahead in the head, premeditated with a buddy of his for this Gents Talk podcast? I don't know. All I know is it came across very well. So kudos to Justin for this. And I think he is trying to do some good stuff for men, for women, for everybody. And it only makes me sadder that this film was stripped from him the way that it was. This should have been a collaborative experience and not led by any one person. And it's clear Justin and team gave Blake a lot of access, and then she just completely pushed him out. Why? That's what we're trying to still figure out. You're not going to miss our live later today, so hit that subscribe, hit the bell for all alerts, smash that thumbs up. We got a lot to go through. You're not going to miss this interview we've unearthed. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think of Justin down below. His comments. You can watch the full thing over on Gents Talk. Check it out. Thanks for watching, everybody.